Hi everyone, it's Christy here from Sweet Girl Designs. Today I wanted to share with you some of my process in completing this mini album. Later in the month, my husband's family is celebrating 50 years in Canada. They moved from Holland in 1967, and so later in March they're going to be having a huge anniversary party with all the family there, and I volunteered myself to make a little scrapbook. So at the beginning there, I just shared with you some of the products that I will be using. All the products are pictured here on the screen. I'm using Jen Hadfield Simple Life. I have the ephemera, the tiny word stickers, the 6x12 stickers, the 6x6 paper pad, and about 7 12x12 papers. So I'm just going to run you through this process. This will probably be 2 or 3 videos in length, like a little mini series, if you will. So I just start here. I took out all the paper from the 6x6 paper pad. They are single-sided, and now I'm just trimming them down to 4x6. That way it's all ready to go. I can just load it right into pockets, and if need be, I can just cut the card in half to become a 3x4. Now there was one floral piece of paper there that I just went ahead and trimmed down to a 3x4 because I knew it wouldn't really work for a 4x6 pocket, so I just went ahead and did that. And to start, I trimmed all the 12x12 papers into a 4x12 piece, and then cut that piece in half to make 2 4x6s. Off camera, I do go ahead and trim all the papers to be 4x6 cards, so each sheet would make 6 4x6 cards, and I did end up using almost all of my paper. You will see at the end what I have left over. And I think I did record putting the photos into the album, but for some reason that did not show up, so you missed that part. And that was probably the most labor intensive part, was the ordering of the photos, resizing them, ordering them into chronological order, and then placing them into the album. It was tricky because this isn't my family. Like, I'm married into the family, so obviously I know the people in the photos, but it was just a little bit tricky to get the timeline right. So thankfully my husband's aunt had scanned all of these photos, and they were on a USB for me, and she had gone through and selected about 150 photos that were relevant to the timeline, like leading up to their move to Canada, I guess, and then shortly after their move to Canada. So about 150 photos. They were sized portrait. The portrait photos I resized to be 3x4 when I ordered them from a photo developing company here in Canada called London Drugs. And any landscape photos I printed as 4x6, and then there is quite a few 4x4 photos towards the end of the albums, like the photos from like the 1970s were all square in size, and so I ordered those as 4x4. I could have put them into the Project Life app and done a whole bunch of collages and stuff, but that would have been way too time consuming. So thankfully, the place that I get my photos developed has the option of printing as 4x4, so I just kind of ran with that. Okay, so I got all my papers trimmed out, and there was a cut apart sheet here that you can see I have at the bottom there. And they have lots of sentiments like thank you and grateful and hello and that sort of thing. I just like them mostly because of the florals and the seed package look, and I will be covering up some of those sentiments, especially like thank you and enjoy and all that stuff. So I'm just popping those in, and they're kind of setting the tone for my color scheme. So each spread has its kind of own color scheme, And I do sometimes go along with the photos, depending. Like there's a couple photos that have bicycles, and there's paper that has bikes. But for the most part, I just kind of pick a card that I like, and then build the rest of the pockets around it. So here I picked that um, seed pack that had pink, and I just went with the other pink papers in the collection. So I'm just popping things into pockets here. That does switch around quite a bit, but I thought this would give you kind of an idea of how the album comes together, and I give you an opportunity to see some of the photos, because these photos are absolutely stunning. I especially love these photos in the first kind of three layouts that showcase my husband's grandfather's life, his grandmother's life, and then their life together in Holland, with photos of the kids and that sort of thing. They're just so beautiful and priceless. Like, I just absolutely love them. But I'm not going to show you all of the part where I'm placing cards, because that would just take way too long, and I'm kind of particular. But I just wanted to give you an idea of my process here. So a little bit later on, I'm trying to be really frugal too, right, and make sure that I'm stretching the paper pad as far as possible. So a little bit later on, I sort my pile into single-sided cards and double-sided cards, so that if there's a pocket that has nothing on the back, I can utilize that card by having the front side of the pattern paper and the reverse side of the pattern paper show through, and I don't really have to double up on my paper. Hope that makes sense. So like there I have the blue floral on one side, and then the blue gingham on the other. I don't have to double that up. So I just go through and I'm just kind of picking and choosing what I like. There's definitely patterns that I love more than others, but I want to stretch the collection as much as I can, and not waste paper, I guess. Here's the bike pattern paper, which I absolutely love. So I'm just kind of flipping through looking for the photos of the bikes, because I know that I think there's about 3 photos with bikes pictured. So I'm just wanting to choose one that goes well, so I'm going to swap that out. So there's a lot of rearranging things and switching photos around and switching paper around and getting the look that I want. I don't end up using all the seed package cut apart, and that's totally fine, because I know that I have some ephemera and stickers and little cut apart sheets from the 6x6 paper pad that I can use and make use of to add more interest to the cards, and that's probably going to be not probably, it is going to be my next video. My next video will show the journaling and show the embellishing. Alright, so just now, I'm just showing you what I have left over. So I have probably about a dozen 3x4s, half a dozen 4x6s, a bunch of 2x6 strips that are left over from when I cut them down from the paper pad, and then I have these 7 or 8 branding strips, which I'm definitely going to make use of when I do my layers and clusters. And so I just have those off to the side just to show you what I have left from my 12x12 papers and my 6x6 paper pad. So now I'm just flipping through just to check like the cohesiveness of the album, and I thought I would make use of these 2x6 inch rectangle pieces that are just scraps, and kind of insert them into some 4x6 pockets just to add some interest in layers to the 4x6 cards, whether it's on the card itself or in behind a photo. And I'm just checking the balance of colors just to make sure that, it's not unbalanced, I guess. So if there's a lot of blue on one side but not a lot on the other, then I'm looking for a pattern piece of paper that has some blue. Or sometimes I'm looking for black. Like in this case, it's quite black, heavy on the left side but not on the right. So I just add some black in behind a photo, and that'll help build my layers too when I get to the embellishing part. So I'm just going through like that, and just again, I like to use as much of the product as possible. I really wouldn't have a use for these 2 by 6 pieces for other projects. I mean, I definitely could layer them up maybe in a 12 by 12 layout or something, but to be honest, these really aren't my colors, and I only purchased this collection for this album. I don't really foresee myself using them in a Project Life layout or 12 by 12 layout. That being said, I love this floral with the orange. I think it's so pretty, and I really like that black and white buffalo check as well, paired with that plaid next to it. Those would probably be my favorite pieces in the collection. So if I had some of those left over, then maybe I would attempt a Project Life layout, but we'll wait and see until I'm done the album. So I'm just going through again and just making my way through the album. It's really neat to see the progression of the photos and in the timeline. So again, the photo, I think the earliest photo in this album is from, oh wow, I don't even know actually. It's probably from, let me think, like 1912? No, would that be right? I can't think. I'm gonna say maybe like 1920s would be like the earliest photo from when my husband's grandpa was a child, and then it goes up until only about, I think, 1972 was the latest photo. We didn't go all the way up to 2017 because that album would be humongous. So we just kind of kept with my husband's Oma and Opa's childhood up until the few years after they came to Canada. So now we get a few colored photos in there, but for the most part they're black and white. And yeah, I love, like I said, I just love the photos from earlier before they came to Canada. They're so gorgeous. So that's the album. I did put that plaid paper in the little window there because it's one of my favorite pieces of paper from the collection, and I'm just tidying up a little bit. And I do have these cut aparts from the 6 by 6 pad, so I thought while I was doing all my cutting that I might as well cut those up and pop them in my bowl of ephemera. I really like the sentiments on these little cut aparts. I guess they would probably be 2 by 1.5. 2 inches by 1.5 inches, and they just have really really good sentiments centered around family. And then there's the one with the seed packages as well. There's those little squares off to the left there. I decided not to cut those down because it would just be too tricky to keep track of. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and that gives you an idea of how my album is coming together. And if you'd like to purchase any of these products, please check out the Paper Issues store and use the code Christy to save 20%. Thanks so much.